In a world where everyone's vying for attention, have you ever wondered what it would be like to be unforgettable? To be the one person someone can't stop thinking about, even when you're not around. Picture this. Your absence feels louder than your presence ever could. And in those moments when you're not even there, you're still the first thing on someone's mind. It's not magic, and it's certainly not manipulation. It's mastery. Mastery of yourself, your emotions, and your presence in someone's life. We've all been there. Moments when you've crossed paths with someone who just has that magnetic pull. It's not about being loud or obnoxious. It's not about constantly trying to be the center of attention. It's something deeper, something that draws people in without them even realizing it. It's an energy that resonates through every action you take, every word you speak, and every move you make. And here's the secret. It's not an accident. It's not some mystical, unachievable trait reserved for the elite few. It's something that can be learned. And it all starts with mastering the one thing that will give you control over your entire life, yourself. This is where the ancient teachings of Stoicism come into play. Imagine living like Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor who was not just a ruler but a master of his emotions, his mind, and his actions. Or think of Seneca, the philosopher who wrote letters that still inspire us to this day, teaching us how to live with intention and clarity. These men were not born with some extraordinary ability to capture attention. They became unforgettable because they mastered themselves, their reactions, and their mindset. They understood that control over their inner world would translate into influence over the outer world. And that's the first step in becoming unforgettable, mastering yourself. You see, when you can control your emotions, your impulses, and your reactions, you no longer react to the chaos around you. You remain grounded, poised, and in control. People can't help but notice that. They can't help but be drawn to your sense of calm, your confidence, and your unshakable presence. And the best part, this is a skill you can learn. In this video, we're going to take you through the 10 Stoic skills that will make you unforgettable. These aren't just abstract ideas, they are practical, actionable principles that will shape the way you live and the way others experience you. These skills have been tested by history, practiced by the greats, and now they are here for you to master. So, get ready to dive into a journey that will change the way you think, the way you act, and ultimately, the way you're remembered. This is your first step toward becoming someone unforgettable, someone who leaves a lasting impact without even trying. Let's get started. Imagine this. You're in a heated argument, emotions are flying, and everyone expects you to lash out. But you don't. You stay calm, measured, and composed. Instead of reacting with anger or frustration, you respond with clarity. That's the first skill we're talking about. The ability to stay calm in the storm. This is incredibly powerful because, in a world full of chaos, calmness stands out. People remember the person who can hold it together when everyone else is losing their head. The Stoics teach us that we don't need to suppress our anger, but we do need to control how we react. It's not about pretending you're not angry. It's about choosing your response. When you maintain control of your emotions, you change the dynamics of the situation. You don't let chaos overwhelm you. Instead, you bring calm, and when you bring calmness to the table, people notice. They think about how you managed to stay so composed. I've seen this happen in my own life, and it's a game changer. I remember a time when a business meeting quickly escalated into a heated argument. The tension was palpable, and every person around the table was ready to snap. But instead of diving into the chaos, I paused, took a deep breath, and simply asked for a moment to reflect before responding. I didn't give in to the frustration or the urge to defend myself. I just stayed calm, and I let the moment settle. People's reactions were immediate. They respected the calmness, the ability to not be swayed by the drama unfolding. That's what makes someone unforgettable, not the loudest voice, but the most measured one. This doesn't mean you have to be emotionless. It means you have the power to control your emotional response, and in doing so, you gain control over the situation. This kind of self-discipline is something that demands attention. People won't forget how you handled the pressure, how you didn't buckle under the weight of the moment. That's the kind of person who stands out in a crowd. The one who isn't shaken by the chaos around them, but instead remains grounded, no matter what life throws their way. Self-control becomes a muscle. The more you practice it, the stronger it gets, and just like any other muscle, the more you work on it, the more it becomes a natural part of who you are. People start to look at you differently. They see you as someone they can rely on, someone who brings stability into an unstable world. You become the person people want to be around when things get tough, because they know you won't add fuel to the fire. You won't add to the panic. Instead, you'll bring calm. That calmness, when mastered, becomes unforgettable. When you're the person who can hold it together while everyone else crumbles, people will remember that. They'll remember the moments when others were losing their minds, and you were the one holding the ship steady. That's what will make you unforgettable. The ability to remain calm when everything else is in turmoil. Now, let's talk about decision-making. Stoicism teaches us that the decisions we make are grounded in wisdom and clarity of thought. It's not about being perfect or always choosing the right thing. It's about making decisions thoughtfully, with intention. Think about how you make decisions. Are they based on impulse or based on logic? I know from personal experience that decisions made in haste often lead to regret. I once found myself at a crossroads in my career, with multiple paths available. Everyone around me was making quick choices, reacting to immediate pressures. The fear of missing out or of choosing the wrong option was overwhelming. But I took a step back, took a deep breath, and chose to act with logic, not emotion. I assessed the situation, considered the long-term consequences, and trusted my ability to weigh the options calmly. That moment of rational decision-making changed everything. It didn't just help me avoid a hasty mistake. It solidified my reputation as someone who could be relied upon to make tough decisions in uncertain times. Imagine a tough decision at work. Everyone is in a rush, trying to make a choice under pressure. There's a sense of urgency in the air, and you can feel the anxiety creeping in. Instead of getting swept up in the chaos, you step back, assess the situation, and make a decision from a place of calm understanding. You look at the facts, consider the possible outcomes, and focus on the bigger picture. This is the essence of rational decision-making, being able to stay grounded. No matter how chaotic the environment around you is, and when you do this, people notice. They see you as someone who can handle pressure with ease, someone who doesn't buckle under the weight of urgency, but instead navigates the storm with clear eyes and a steady hand. People trust decision-makers who are thoughtful, not impulsive. When you demonstrate this kind of rationality, you build trust and credibility. It's not about being perfect. No one is. It's about being deliberate. People don't remember the impulsive decisions. They remember the ones made with intention. They remember the person who took their time to understand the situation fully and chose the path that would lead to the best outcome in the long run. When you make decisions in this way, you become a go-to person for advice, a voice of reason in the midst of chaos. And this doesn't just apply to professional situations. Think about your personal life. How often do we make decisions in the heat of the moment, only to regret them later? Stoicism teaches us to slow down, to pause, and to reflect before we act. It's this deliberate approach to decision-making that leaves a lasting impact on those around you. It's not the quick decisions that people remember. It's the ones made with care, wisdom, and a sense of responsibility. And those are the decisions that make you unforgettable. When you become known for your rational decision-making, you stand apart from the crowd. You're no longer just another person reacting to the pressure of the moment. You're the person who thinks before they act, the one who weighs all the options, and the one whose judgment is trusted in the most difficult of times. That's the kind of person people will turn to when they need guidance. That's the kind of person who leaves a lasting impression. Adversity is a part of life, whether it's a job loss, a failed relationship, or a personal setback. We all face challenges, but what sets unforgettable people apart is their resilience. Most people give up when life gets tough. They dwell on what went wrong and let the situation define them. But Stoicism teaches us that hardship is an opportunity to grow, not a roadblock. I've experienced my fair share of challenges, and looking back, I can see how those moments of hardship shaped who I am today. There was a time when I lost a job I thought was my future. It felt like the ground had been pulled from under me, and for a while, I was lost in self-doubt and frustration. Everyone around me was offering sympathy, and part of me wanted to just give in, to let the setback consume me. But then I remembered something crucial. This moment wasn't the end. It was an opportunity to grow, to learn, and to adapt. Resilience isn't about pretending everything is fine. It's about facing adversity head-on with strength and grace. It's about acknowledging the struggle, but choosing to move forward despite it. I remember choosing to take a step back and reassess, not as a victim of circumstance, but as someone who could choose their next move. It was a long road, And there were times when giving up seemed like the easier option. But every time I chose to push forward, I felt a little stronger, a little more capable of facing whatever came next. People remember the person who doesn't quit. They remember the one who keeps going, no matter how difficult the road is. It's easy to stay on course when everything is going well, but true character is forged in the fire of adversity. When you keep going even when others expect you to fall, when you stand up again after every setback, that's when people take notice. That's when you leave an indelible mark on their minds. They won't remember you for the times you succeeded effortlessly, but for the times you picked yourself up when the world was pushing you down. Every challenge you face becomes a stepping stone. The more you embrace adversity, the stronger you become, and the more people see you rise through hardship, the more they will remember you as someone who doesn't back down. When life tests you, when it seems like the odds are against you, that's your moment to show your true strength. That's when people will see the person you are at your core, the one who doesn't let setbacks define them, but instead uses them as fuel to rise higher. Resilience isn't just about surviving. It's about thriving despite the challenges. It's about becoming stronger, more capable, and more unshakable with each obstacle you overcome. And when you develop that kind of resilience, people won't forget you. They'll remember you as the person who didn't just endure adversity, they thrived because of it. In a world full of distractions, being truly present is rare, and it's also incredibly powerful. When you give someone your full attention, you make them feel seen and valued. This is mindful presence. It's the ability to be fully engaged in the moment, without distractions. It's something that seems so simple, yet so few people take the time to practice it. How often have we found ourselves in conversations where the person we're speaking with is half-heartedly engaged? Their attention divided between their phone, their thoughts, or the noise around them. It's frustrating, isn't it? You might find yourself wondering if they care at all, if what you're saying matters. That feeling is universal, and it's uncomfortable. I've experienced this firsthand, where I'm speaking to someone, and it feels like I'm invisible. Their gaze shifts constantly, their responses are quick but shallow, and you're left questioning if they've even heard a word you said. In those moments, you can't help but feel unimportant. But the flip side is true, too. When someone gives you their undivided attention, it's powerful. It feels like you matter, like your thoughts and emotions are important. And it's not just a fleeting feeling. It sticks with you. The person who listens, who makes you feel heard, leaves a lasting impact. Think about the last conversation you had with someone who was truly present with you. Their eyes were focused, their body language open, and they hung on to your every word. You could feel that they were processing what you said, not just waiting for their turn to speak. It's rare, but it's a gift. That's the kind of person you remember, the one who made you feel valued by simply being present. And that's what sets people apart. That kind of attentiveness, that mindful presence, is unforgettable. Mindful presence requires intention. It's not just about being physically there. It's about being mentally and emotionally there. 2. In today's world, where everyone is glued to screens and multitasking, it's easy to overlook the importance of presence. But when you can give someone your full attention, when you can tune out the distractions and really engage with them, you create a connection that lasts. People remember the way you made them feel in that moment. They remember how they felt seen, how they felt understood, and how they felt valued. Personally, I've made a conscious effort to practice this in my own interactions. It's not always easy, especially with everything vying for our attention, but I've realized that when I give my full attention to someone, it not only deepens the connection but also strengthens the trust between us. People start to open up more. They become more comfortable, and in turn, you create more meaningful relationships. Ones that aren't just built on surface-level interactions but on genuine understanding and connection. This is what makes someone unforgettable. In a world where people are constantly distracted, when you give your full attention to someone, it leaves a lasting impression. They will remember how they felt when you truly listened and engaged with them. People will think about how you made them feel, and that's something they won't forget. It's this rare quality, being truly present, that makes someone stand out in a way that nothing else can. When you practice mindful presence, you're not just showing up, you're making a statement that the person in front of you matters. And that's a gift that sticks with people long after the conversation ends. Emotions are powerful, and they can easily get the best of us. But here's the secret. It's not about denying your emotions. It's about mastering them. Emotional regulation is one of the most important skills you can develop. It's about recognizing your emotions and choosing how to express them. Think about a time when you were in a stressful situation, and instead of reacting impulsively, you paused, took a breath, and responded thoughtfully. I've found that when I take a moment to step back, especially when emotions are high, I'm able to see the bigger picture. In the past, I've been caught up in moments where anger, frustration, or stress threatened to take over. I've felt the rush of emotions bubbling up, and it would have been easy to let them control my actions. But each time I resisted the urge to react immediately, I was amazed by how much more powerful and effective my response could be. When you choose to regulate your emotions, you regain control over the situation. You become the calm in the storm, not the storm itself. People notice when you keep your emotions in check. They remember the person who stayed calm, even in the most stressful situations. It's a trait that stands out because it's rare. Most people let their emotions dictate their actions, and it's easy to see the chaos it creates. But the person who remains composed, even when everyone around them is losing their head, becomes a source of stability. In my experience, this ability to stay grounded in the face of pressure doesn't just help you in the moment. It helps you build trust. Others start to rely on you because they know that you won't be thrown off course by emotions. They see you as someone who can handle anything that comes your way. I remember a high-pressure situation at work, where a critical decision had to be made, and tensions were running high. Everyone was speaking over each other, each person desperate to make their point. But in that moment, I decided to step back, take a deep breath, and listen to all sides before speaking. Instead of being swept up in the chaos, I responded calmly, providing a clear and logical solution that everyone could agree on. It wasn't the loudest voice in the room, but it was the most controlled. And when the dust settled, people respected me for how I handled the pressure. Emotional regulation doesn't mean being cold or detached. It means responding with clarity and poise, no matter how you feel inside. It's a subtle power that doesn't rely on volume or force. It's the quiet strength of someone who has mastered their inner world. This skill is rare, and it's incredibly impactful when you can remain composed under pressure. People start to see you as a source of stability. They trust you to handle stressful situations, and they admire your ability to remain calm when others can't. This is what makes someone unforgettable. It's not about being perfect, it's about being consistent, grounded, and able to handle whatever life throws at you without losing yourself in the process. When you master emotional regulation, you not only become more resilient, but you also become someone others can turn to for support and guidance. And that's a kind of influence that lasts. As you master these Stoic skills, you'll start to notice something powerful. People will start seeking your advice. They'll trust your judgment, and they'll look to you in times of uncertainty. This is the natural byproduct of living with purpose and practicing self-control. People are drawn to those who have a steady mind, clear decision-making skills, and resilience in the face of adversity. It's something I've personally experienced, and it's one of the most rewarding aspects of cultivating these qualities. When you're able to stay grounded, when you have a sense of calm and control over your emotions, people notice it. They may not always say it, but they feel it. They start to recognize that you're someone who doesn't react impulsively, someone who can be counted on to make the right choices, even in the most stressful situations. I've had moments in my life where I didn't seek attention, but the more I practiced staying steady, the more I found people approaching me for advice. It's a humbling experience, but also one that reinforces the power of being someone who leads with integrity and clarity. People will start trusting you, and they'll begin to turn to you in times of uncertainty. They'll seek your perspective because they know that you don't just speak from emotion or gut reactions. You speak from a place of thoughtfulness and reflection. Think about it. When you've been in a tough situation and you've needed someone to lean on, who do you turn to? It's often the person who has a steady presence, someone who can offer clear insights without the drama or emotional clouding. That's the kind of person who builds influence without even trying. When you embody those Stoic qualities, self-discipline, emotional regulation, and rational decision-making, you become that person. You don't have to chase after recognition or status. It naturally comes to you because of the way you live. This is not about being perfect or flawless. It's about being consistent. It's about showing up with reliability, maintaining your composure under pressure, and responding with clarity when everyone else is losing their cool. People trust that. They gravitate toward it. I've witnessed firsthand how this trust can turn into influence. When people know they can count on you, They begin to follow your lead, not because you've demanded it, but because your actions have earned their respect. You've demonstrated time and time again that you are someone who can be relied upon to handle both the small things and the big challenges with the same level of poise. When you consistently make thoughtful, rational decisions, when you stay calm under pressure, you become someone people trust. You build influence without trying. You become the person people turn to, not because you've sought attention, but because you've demonstrated the qualities that make you reliable and valuable. This kind of influence doesn't come from manipulation or force. It comes from authenticity, consistency, and a life lived with purpose. And that's when people start to see you as someone who can guide them, someone they want to be around, and someone whose opinions matter. Living with purpose is the final piece of the puzzle. It's about understanding who you are, what you stand for, and why you do what you do. Purpose gives you direction, and when you live with purpose, you become an anchor for others. People notice when someone is anchored in their values. They admire the strength that comes from knowing who you are and living authentically. I've seen firsthand how powerful it is to live with purpose. There was a time in my life when I was uncertain, drifting from one situation to another, not really understanding why I was making the choices I was. But when I started to align my actions with my core beliefs, everything changed. I felt more grounded, more focused. It was as if the noise of the world around me faded, and I could hear my inner voice more clearly than ever before. Purpose gives you the ability to navigate through life's challenges with confidence. When you live with purpose, your decisions are aligned with your core values. It's like having a compass that always points you in the right direction. No matter how difficult the journey becomes, I can't emphasize enough how this has transformed the way I approach problems. Instead of being overwhelmed by obstacles, I now view them as opportunities to test my values and my purpose. It's a shift in perspective, one that allows you to rise above the chaos and stay true to what matters most. I remember a particular moment when I was facing a major crossroads. I had two very different paths to choose from, each with its own set of risks and rewards. At first, the decision seemed daunting, but then I asked myself one crucial question: what aligns with my purpose? This simple inquiry turned the entire situation on its head. Suddenly, I wasn't just weighing pros and cons. I was thinking about how my decision would align with my deeper values, the kind of person I wanted to be, and the legacy I wanted to create. That's when the path became clear. I chose the one that resonated with who I am, not just who I could become in the short term. And that choice has had a profound impact on my life. When you live with purpose, your decisions are aligned with your core values. You become someone who stands firm, someone others respect and admire. It's not about being perfect. It's about being consistent in your actions and true to yourself. I've found that living authentically attracts the right kind of people into your life. People are drawn to those who live with purpose because they recognize the strength that comes from knowing yourself. It's a strength that cannot be faked, a power that is earned through consistent alignment with your inner truth. Purpose doesn't just give you direction, it makes you someone people look to for inspiration. They see you as someone who is unwavering, someone who doesn't just go with the flow but moves with intention. And that kind of presence, one that radiates authenticity, is unforgettable. People will remember you for the way you lived, for the clarity you brought into their lives, and for the strength that comes from living with purpose. That's the kind of person who makes an impact. That's the kind of person who leaves a lasting legacy. So, what makes someone unforgettable? It's not about being loud or constantly seeking attention. It's about mastering yourself. It's about being calm under pressure, making decisions thoughtfully, staying resilient in the face of adversity, being truly present with others, and living with purpose. It's about having that quiet strength that draws people in without you having to say a word. People remember those who are grounded, those who don't let life's chaos define them, and those who remain true to their values no matter what the situation is. I can tell you from personal experience, the more I've embraced these Stoic principles, the more I've noticed a change in the way people perceive me. It's not about showing off or trying to be someone I'm not. It's about showing up every day with intention, keeping my emotions in check, making thoughtful decisions, and being the calm in the storm. There have been moments when I could have lost my composure, when I could have reacted impulsively or let my emotions dictate my actions. But when I chose to pause, to reflect, and to respond with clarity, I could see the impact it had on others. People started coming to me for advice, asking for my perspective in times of uncertainty, and seeking my guidance in challenging situations. They saw that I was someone who could be trusted, someone who didn't crumble under pressure. And that, my friends, is what makes you unforgettable. When you master these skills, you don't just become someone people admire. You become someone they can't forget. And that's the ultimate goal. To live in such a way that your presence lingers. Even when you're not around. It's not about having a flashy personality or being the loudest in the room. It's about your actions, your ability to remain composed when others can't, your decisions that are aligned with your values, and your unwavering presence that people can feel even in your absence. But here's the thing, it won't happen overnight. It takes practice, it takes consistency, it takes choosing the right actions day after day, even when it feels hard, and that's where the real challenge lies. It's not about seeking perfection, it's about striving to be the best version of yourself. Especially when no one is watching. It's about showing up every day with intention, making decisions that align with your purpose, and remaining grounded in who you truly are. So, if you're ready to become unforgettable, it's time to start practicing these Stoic skills. Start today. Don't wait for the perfect moment, because it doesn't exist. Take control of your emotions. Master your thoughts, and align your actions with your values. Live with purpose, and be present with the people around you. Remember, it's not about being perfect. It's about being intentional. It's about showing up as the best version of yourself, every single day. And when you do, people will think about you long after you've left the room. So go ahead, start today. and let your presence be something that lingers in the hearts and minds of everyone you meet. Because becoming unforgettable is within your reach. All it takes is a commitment to mastering yourself, and the rest will follow.